Bellum Gallicum, Book 4, Chapter 29. Eadem nocte accidit. On that night it happened. Ut esset luna plena. That there was a full moon. Usive noun clause, or just ut noun clause, acting as the subject of accidit. That there was a full moon happened on the same night. Qui dies, which days, that is, days that have a full moon, maritimos aestus maximos in oceanu efficere consuevit. Which day, singular, which day is accustomed to bring about upon the ocean the greatest maritime swellings. That's accusative plural, fourth declension. The greatest maritime swellings is tides. Which day is accustomed to bring about the greatest tides on the ocean? That is, days when there's a full moon. And to our men, this thing was unknown. Thus, at one time, both the long ships, accusative, quibus Caesar exercitum transportandum curaverat, with which Caesar had taken care of the transportation of the army. This is accusative. This is a gerundive. It's been attracted into the gerundive from the gerund. So this goes, with which Caesar had taken care of the army to be transported, but make it back into the gerund phrase, the transporting of the army. That's not genitive, but in the gerund phrase, it is a genitive. So that's what you're going to translate. Quas, this is naves again, which Caesar had dragged up onto dry land, which he had dragged up onto dry land. Aestus complebat, the tide was filling. So if you look at the main clause, it says, thus at one time, both the tide was filling the long ships, with which Caesar this, and which Caesar had dragged up onto the dry land. And, so here's the and of the both. And the baggage ships, and we can jump right to the main clause down here, the storm was striking. And the baggage ships, which had been tied up at anchor, at their anchors, the storm was afflicting, was striking, nor ulla facultas is the phrase there. Facultas is nominative singular, facultas, facultatis, nor was there any opportunity to our men given. Nor was any opportunity given to our men. Opportunity out administrandi, either of seeing to them, of administering to them, or of helping. Next sentence. Cum pluribus navibus fractis, with a great many of the ships broken, since the remaining ones were, this is a big ablative absolute, with their ropes, anchors, and remaining tackle lost, useless for sailing, as pertains to sailing, that's a gerund here, subjunctive in this cum clause here, with many of the ships broken, since the remaining were useless for sailing, because this and this and this thing were broken. Magna, a great, and the noun that's modifying magna is perturbatio. Perturbatio, perturbationis, feminine, nominative, singular. A great disturbance, facta est, was made. A great disturbance, totius exercitus, that's genitive, singular. A great disturbance of the whole army happened. Facta est is the third principal part, comes from the third principal part of theo, happen. Id quod necesse erat accidere. So this is a little aside here in which Caesar excuses the fact that his army is afraid. Because of all this stuff, bad stuff, it is necessary that the great disturbance happen. And here's how he describes it. That thing which it was necessary to happen, a great disturbance of the whole army happened. Makes sense? Not his fault. It was necessary that happened. Nequenim naves erant aliae, nor in fact were there other ships with which they might be able to be carried back, subjunctive in a relative clause of purpose, nor were there other ships with which they might be able to be carried back, and all things were lacking, that's just de sum, imperfect, which were of use, genitive of characteristic or something, which were of use, ad reficiendas naves, for the refurbishing of ships, were of use to ships to be refurbished. Attracted into the gerundive, we're going to translate the gerund phrase, for refurbishing ships. All things were lacking, which you might use for that, and quod omnibus constabatia mari in Gallia portere, because it was established for all, that is, everybody decided, that it was fitting to spend the winter, to winter, in Gaul, frumentum in his locis in hiemem provisum non erat. There was not grain, food, provided in these places, that is, Britain, for the winter, leading into the winter. So they were going to run out of food. So no wonder there was a magna perturbatio totius exercitus.